Welcome back to another episode of Big Movie Mouth Off. We are here, well, at the booth.
Yeah.
Always chilling at the booth.
In the studio.
In the studio. I'm Jimmy Martin. You can find me on KUTV every Saturday and Sunday morning, also on KUTV.com. And, well, of course, you're back.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Counts, back for more.
There you go.
Be a regular.
Of course, I think you're a regular by now.
I think so.
Okay, you can find Big Movie Mouth Off on Xfinity Channel 6, also on their on-demand system. It's Utah On Demand, Movies and Film, Big Movie Mouth Off right there. All right, let's see. We got to thank our sponsors real fast. Yeah. It's Cinemark Theaters. If you live in Salt Lake City, it's Century Theaters. Everywhere else, it's Tinseltown and stuff like that. But be sure to check them out at Cinemark.com. Also, their new theater, Cinemark's Sugar House 10, is now open with their big fluffy chairs ready for you to squish them.
We need two of those chairs right here.
I just like laying back.
Yeah. You'd have to wake me up periodically.
Right. All right, on this episode of Big Movie Mouth Off, we are going to review Insurgent, a part of the Divergent series. In the middle, we're going to have two interviews from actors with the Insurgent, Shailene Woodley and Theo James.
The stars,
the two leads. And then also, but now we're going to review, well, Sean Penn's back, and we're going to review The Gunman. Let's take a look at a clip right now. Okay.
The Gunman.
We've seen this time and time again.
Yep.
It's the older actor who's being pulled out of, I wouldn't say retirement. I mean, Sean Penn's been pretty busy.
Yeah.
But
making inappropriate comments at the Oscars and stuff like
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. As you do.
Real busy.
As you do. And so now it's his turn to be a hitman.
Yeah.
Directed by Pierre Morel, who directed District B13.
Yeah, which was awesome.
I love it, District B13.
Yeah.
The first Taken, which was the only good Taken.
The Taken.
With Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Which, when you kind of look at it, it's the same kind of story as this one.
Yeah.
So basically the story is Sean Penn, he's a hired mercenary, hired to do an assassination in the Congo, kills the minister of mining, needs to get out of town quick. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got to leave everybody behind, including his team and his girlfriend. 8 years pass.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he thinks everything's kind of okay. I'll go back to the Congo. I know I kind of screwed up myself with that assassination.
Yeah, it's a penance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess some people haven't really forgiven him yet. No. And so people are out to kill Sean Penn.
Yeah.
And so with that said, he's got to kind of reconnect with his team, kind of always having to look behind his shoulder.
Yeah.
And basically go on a global adventure, because we go to a lot of countries in this thing, trying to figure out who's trying to kill him and why. And, well, I think he knows why, but, but why now? Why has it been 8 years?
Right.
And so, and that's kind of the story of The Gunman.
That is the story of all of these old guy badass movies.
Yes. It's just his turn to do it.
It's his turn.
I will say this. I'm not exactly sure how old Sean Penn is.
I'll tell you, he's 54.
54 years old. Jack.
He looks...
And the reason I know that is because he's like shirtless half the movie.
He's at least half the movie without his shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes it off like in the middle of a sentence sometimes.
Just like, hey, don't move.
But he looks good. I mean,
he's chilling. And speaking of that, because for a 54-year-old, that dude knows how to punch somebody in the face. Because the action sequences in this
are strong.
Yeah. Few and far between.
They are. It's true.
But when you get them, they're good.
Yeah, you're on to what I think one of the biggest flaws in the movie is. It's just so slow.
It is slow. But Sean Penn's a great actor.
Yeah.
Javier Bardem shows up every now and then.
Yeah, not a great role for him, but
he's just drunk the whole time.
Yeah, he's drunk the whole time, but he at least takes up a lot of space when he's on the screen. He's compelling.
But my biggest flaw with it, while it is slow, and I'm glad it's kind of just, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about Taken, not knowing that he was the same director.
Yeah.
Because Taken was just fun in the sense that it was just like, here's a simple story. My daughter got kidnapped.
Yeah.
I'm going to go kill them all kind of thing. And then, whereas The Gunman steps in, it could be something like that.
Yeah.
Could have been fun.
Yeah.
But they decide to have an agenda.
It's preachy.
It's Sean Penn.
Yeah, it's really preachy.
It's what he does. I mean, the dude's I think one of the biggest liberals in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. And it's not even that his opinion is even wrong or whatever.
No.
Because, Africa and the whole mining industry and whatever, it's completely corrupt and screwed up.
Yeah.
I get it. But do I really want to see that in a Hitman movie?
No, America's got this weird sort of predatory role in Africa where we're taking all these resources and we're doing a lot of damage, but I don't need someone pretending to be a newscaster in the movie, looking at the camera and saying, "America's got a really predatory role in Africa," and it's so on the nose.
Yeah.
It beats you over the head.
Well, Morale, the director, takes out his hammer and just starts beating it into you.
Definitely.
Over and over and over.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got it. I mean, you can have that as a slight premise.
Yeah.
But
as a subtext, but it was the text.
It's the entire film.
Yeah.
So, that's my biggest flaw with it. It is slow.
Yeah.
Well acted. Good action scenes where it is here and there.
Good action, yeah. And the violence is right. He had the right tone for those sequences.
It is violent.
Yeah.
I mean,
No
we're
doubt.
talking knives and throats.
No doubt.
Coming out the back.
Yep. Yep.
So, if half of it I liked a lot, because it's the film. I'm a sucker for Hitman movies.
Yep, me too.
One of my favorites is Leon the Professional.
Yep.
But when you want to throw in your agenda and just kind of ruin the moment and kind of just make it too serious,
It takes you out of it.
it does.
Yeah.
It really does. So for me, I'm gonna get the 2-star range, I think.
2 stars for me too.
Yeah?
Yep.
There you go. 2 stars for the Gunman. Hey, you know what? It's good to see Spicoli still looking pretty good.
Hey, bud, let's party.
That's all I can think about.
He
when I
does
saw-
surf at one point.
He does.
Good call.
Yeah, when it's almost like, man, Spicoli's still kicking
Man,
around.
I didn't even think of that.
There you go. All right. That's
Can I change to 2.5 for the
Sure.
surfing? No.
If you want to.
2 stars.
2 stars for surfing, but he does surf in this film. All right, coming up next, we've got interviews with Shailene Woodley and Theo James from Insurgent. And when we come back, we'll review Insurgent. It's all next.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Oh, do you feel the breeze from the subway? Isn't it delicious?
What are you doing in here?
I'm having a nervous breakdown.
That's the kind of a look a man gives when he's afraid somebody might be watching him.
I am big. It's the picture that got small.
It's very nice to meet you.
You too.
So I'm watching this film, and you kind of got put through the ringer on this one. What was probably the most challenging task or scene that you had to perform in there?
Yeah, the Tris versus Tris sequence was difficult simply because there was a lot of mathematics and technicalities involved. As me facing myself, fighting myself, when in reality I was fighting my stunt double, and then we would switch places and then fight her again from the other side, and then they would splice me together through in post-production. That was tricky.
Yeah, I know that you kind of you have a fun lifestyle of kind of, I say, living off the grid a little bit, and you kind of just being more, I guess, more minimalistic. Do you have any new tips that you've kind of learned lately that you want to share with some people?
You just really don't need a lot.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot of stuff. That being said, when you do find the things that really matter to you, hold those things close, you know, like little trinkets and whatnot. But we really don't need a lot to survive. The body is pretty resilient, and a lot of the things that fulfill our happiness are right in front of us, not in devices or external extremities.
Sure. There's a scene in the film where you're injected with a truth serum, and if you had that serum running through your veins right now, and I were to ask you what movie and song that people would be surprised to know that you secretly kind of love,
What would it be?
What would it be?
I mean, I don't know if it's a surprise. I love the movie Avatar. I live for that film. I think it's so great. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm like, I need to put on Avatar. And music, I mean, any kind of music. I love it all. Give me some 90s music. Like, the cheesier the 90s song, the better, in my opinion.
Some like Blind Melon. You know,
like every 90s song, like every really bad 90s song is the best.
I'm watching this film too, and it seems like tattoos are a very big kind of part of characters and design. Do you have any tattoos that to speak of, or
I do not.
Would you ever get daring enough to do one? And you ever thought about getting one, and what would it be?
think the beautiful thing about tattoos is they mean something different to everyone.
Yeah.
And for me, just being connected to my native roots, I find that tattooing, especially in indigenous cultures, was a way of telling your story and depicting who you are. Because when you died, the people, when they found your body, by looking at your tattoos, would be like, oh, this person was a warrior or a hunter, or she was a maiden or whatnot. And so in that realm, there's definitely tattoos that I would love to get, but I don't want to get the story on myself until I've lived it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because when I die, they're going to see a flux capacitor on my leg. And
Well, they're going to know exactly.
They're going to start laughing. So, so thank you
They're
so
going to
much.
be like, he was funny.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for...
It's very nice to meet you.
What's up, brother?
So I'm watching this film. There was a lot of physical activity going on in this film. What kind of training and whatnot did you have to?
Yeah, I was kind
gain?
of on the. I was almost on the back foot because I couldn't get there for that long before the movie. So when I arrived in Atlanta, I was like, oh god, I need to hit the gym really hard.
Yeah.
But the difference was I kind of started doing kind of more power work, like explosive power work, which weirdly ended up being quite useful because there's a lot of essentially running, kind of, but for short, kind of quick distances. Anyway, this is getting kind of boring. But
No. It seems like there's a lot of clotheslines. I noticed in it.
Clotheslines,
like with like a stiff arm.
There are a few clotheslines, yeah, old school, like
Exactly.
yeah,
WWF style. I gotta say, kind of a late happy birthday because you just turned a big 3-0.
I did, yeah.
So do you have kind of a goal or anything you want to do before you hit the big 4-0? Like any kind of skills you want to learn or films you want to do?
I wouldn't mind being a helicopter pilot, yeah. Well, that takes a while to get your qualification. What other skills? Well, probably pop out a couple of kids before I'm the big 4-0.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know. What do you want to do?
I think the kids, I'm 32, so I think the kids are starting to come up in the conversations. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the film where you get truth serum injected into you.
Yeah.
And so
initially it was the butt cheeks, but they kind of they changed it.
If that serum was flowing through your veins right now, and I were to ask you what film and song would people be surprised to know that you truly love but don't really talk about that much, what would those be?
God, they're difficult questions.
That you're willing to admit.
That I'm willing to admit. Yeah, exactly. Uptown Girl or something. No, is that a movie? I think I just made that up.
I think it's a Billy Joel song.
What would be my guilty pleasure? Probably I like kind of some kind of dumb action movies. Like
Sure. You can say anything Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Give me one and help me out. Give me some.
Actually, the scene at the end of the movie kind of reminded me of Double Impact when he's fighting his twin brother. So.
Yeah, that's true. Double Impact.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be a guilty pleasure, a Van Damme movie, and then guilty pleasure song would be, not necessarily guilty pleasure, but crunk, basically.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Your character has a lot of tattoos in it. Do you have any ink per se?
Yeah, I have a few really bad ones that I got
Yeah.
that I shouldn't have got when I was inebriated.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's always the best ones to get.
Yeah, exactly. At least they have a story.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And then lastly, I always thought you could measure success with, maybe how much money you've made or awards that you've won throughout your life kind of thing. But I think after doing some research on you, I think it's having a website completely devoted to your eyebrows. I think that's the measure of success.
I have wow.
Which I thought was very funny.
That's hilarious.
It's called Theo James, Those Eyebrows. And I was like,
I made it.
yeah, right? I was like, as someone with a good set of eyebrows, I was like, I think he's leading the charge. So,
Nice,
cool.
man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
brother.
Thanks, man.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Oh, do you feel the breeze from the subway? Isn't it delicious?
What are you doing in here?
I'm having a nervous breakdown.
That's the kind of a look a man gives when he's afraid somebody might be watching him.
the pictures that got small.
Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off. Telling you, man, Theo James and those eyebrows is going to take over the world.
Man, I'm going to join that website as soon as we're done here.
You should.
And I don't need any truth serum.
All right. Well, now that we've talked to the actors, let's review Insurgent
Yeah.
from the Divergent series, the second chapter.
Yeah.
Basically, in this story, Triss, played by Shailene Woodley, is still on the run for kind of revealing her true abilities as a Divergent, who basically someone who doesn't comply to the regulations of the government set by Kate Winslet's character. She's supported by Theo James, whose name is Four, what a name. And then her brother, Ansel Elgort, which is my favorite name ever, and it will never change, I'm sure. And then also Miles Teller, who kind of plays Peter, he doesn't really know what side he's on, kind of flips and flops, doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the story, really. They're building the rebellion. Can they take them on? Are they right or wrong for what they're doing? Is society going to be better for it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, and then they're trying to break this box open, and the only person that they think can, find the secrets hidden inside the founders, the box would be Triss.
Yeah.
And they are doing everything they can to capture her alive, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
second movie of a trilogy stuff.
Yep.
It definitely felt like that role.
Yeah. Well, I'll say right now, what's better about this one than the first one, you're not spending 75% of the movie with character introductions. You hit the ground running and you go.
They jump right in.
Yeah, which is good. The other thing is that the action sequences, I think, look better.
Yep.
I think there more of them, which is nice.
Yeah.
And Shailene Woodley and Theo James get to show their physicality in this. The dude gives some strong arms.
Definitely. As you said, clotheslines and a lot of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you should make a drinking game out of it, because if you do, you'll be drunk and dead before the end of the movie.
No doubt. It seemed like they had a bigger budget for this one, though, didn't it?
It seems like it. Yeah. It really does. And so for this, my biggest issue with this, I have to say the entire series, and I had the issue with the first one, was it feels like something we've seen so many times before.
Yeah.
It feels like Harry Potter, Hunger Games,
it does.
Some Twilight in there.
Yeah.
It's just, those young adult novel adaptations that, we now they're just a dime a dozen.
I had this little secret daydream that Theo James was going to accidentally call her Katniss a couple times. And they would just leave it in.
I did think in the first one that when they were giving her, like, what faction are you going to be in?
Yeah.
They were going to say Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
So, like...
there was a sorting hat scene for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's kind of hard to back something that feels so unoriginal.
Yeah.
But they're doing okay. This is not Twilight. This is so much more engaging than Twilight.
I think it's as good as Hunger Games.
Do you?
I really do. And I'm not sure why. I can't really explain it well, even though you're paying me to explain it well right now. I'm just in. I'm sort of bought in. I want to see what happens next. She's a good enough actress. He's good too, actually.
Okay.
I think Theo James is compelling in this role.
He's not bad.
No, I mean it's a pretty one-dimensional role, but I like what he's doing with it, and I'm in.
Yeah, and so that's where I don't want to knock the acting too far down, because
except for one, which we'll get to.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think the material is not the best material out there right now. And so
it's true.
Shailene Woodley is a fantastic actress. Besides Divergent, this is really the only time I've seen Theo James act. I know he was in like Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. But I've heard him praised other places. I think you put him in another role that has some more oomph behind it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get better performances out of him.
It's a robot role, and he's doing a good job with it, I think.
Sure.
The one for me that's really not living up to their reputation is Kate Winslet. I think she's super boring. It's a very flat affect the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not even interesting enough not to like her.
Yeah. Well,
there's just nothing going on. You said she was doing her Sutherland impression.
She's doing Donald Sutherland from Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I think she's just like, oh, what's this going to be like? Oh, he's the evil guy? Got it.
It's pretty paint by numbers, her portrayal, I think.
But I will say that at the end of this film, I'm excited for the next one.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to spoil anything, but if the one thing a trilogy can do is the middle one needs to have you go, oh man, what's next?
Yep.
And that's where I am with this. And then we have to wait till next year.
Right.
I will say that I'm upset that I think it's called Allegiant or something like that is the next one.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And they're doing the part 1, part 2 thing.
I know.
Which I hate. I hate it. It's a money grab. But I'm excited to at least see the first one. But you know what? I'll probably be mad at the first one.
You can refuse to review it like you did for Hunger Games.
I did. I was just like, show me the rest of it. You know, because that's not a movie. That's half of one. But this one is a complete movie. it's not the best thing out there,
No.
but it's certainly not the worst.
No.
And so for that one, I'm at about the 2.5 star range.
Yeah, I'm 2.5. I was thinking about 3 stars. It's not quite there.
Yeah.
But I'm like I said, I'm bought in. If that's all you can say about a movie is that it hooks you,
Yeah.
that's the best praise I can give it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not original, but you got good actors in there.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing could fall apart fast if the wrong people were in those roles.
It's very solid given how kind of pedestrian the story is.
Yeah, and what actually before we leave, I do have to give Shailene Woodley some praise because the first time I actually read my review that I wrote, in my publication.
Yeah.
And I was like, all she did was cry the entire time.
It's true. Yeah.
And this time they actually made her a strong female character, and I'm all about that because, and I wrote this in my review for this one.
Yeah.
Was we don't get that a lot nowadays. Speaking
Yeah.
of Katniss, that's the one thing I can praise these young adult novel adaptations is that you're getting strong female leads, which is only a fraction of what Hollywood's giving us.
Yeah, and I never saw the first one when it was in the theater, so I watched it a few days ago to prepare for Insurgent, and I think maybe it's the Netflixization of our
a good
attention
word.
span. Thank you.
Copyrighted.
But it actually makes sense to see them in a row like that.
Yeah.
It actually works better.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, 2.5 stars for
Yeah.
Insurgent from both of us. Be sure to check out our sponsors. It's Cinemark, cinemark.com. Cinemark's Sugar House 10 is open with their big fluffy chairs. And I think we should
Get
go.
some chairs.
We should get some chairs. That should be involved in the contract. So that'll do it for this episode, and we will catch you next time.